Hi, I'm Dan Music, and today we're going to show you how to lubricate a garage door. And what we recommend for oiling a garage door is probably the best oil is 40 weight non-detergent oil. You can pick this up at just about any auto parts store. Sometimes you can mix wheel bearing grease with 10W30 to make it just a little thicker. You want something so that when you put the lube on it, it's going to stay there. The thinner the oil, the more often you have to lubricate it. To begin, first disengage the door from the opener. Next, open the door halfway. I usually start at the bottom, go up, and then work my way over.
Notice that this, as you look at the bottom of the door here, this bottom roller is rusty and it's actually seized to the bottom fixture. So to free that, use a vice grip and wiggle it back and forth until it's free. When it's free, I can squirt some oil on here so that it pivots and turns inside the roller carrier and here, so oil these places right here so the roller can slide back and forth. And then you oil the center bearing of the roller and also just put a drop on top of the roller. You always want to check the cable on the bottom and oil the cable as well. A lot of times salt from the road ends up in the garage and you want to check it. You also want to open the door all the way, check to make sure there's no rust. But I see that there is some rust there, and you always want to check that just to make sure that there's not going to be a problem down the road. So bring the door down to the next hinge. The roller needs to be able to slide back and forth. In order to allow this, you need to squirt some oil on the roller stem, push it in, and then while you're pushing it in, squirt some over on the other side so that it goes back. And then you turn the wheel. And that allows the roller to slide back and forth. A lot of doors bind and stick because the rollers are sticking inside the hinge. You also want to oil the hinge where it pivots, a drop or two here and here. Also, like we did down below, oil the roller and the wheel. Lower the door to the next hinge, do the same thing. Oil the roller stem, oil the bearing, the wheel, and the hinge. Lower the door to the floor, oil the shaft on both sides of the hinge, oil the wheel and the hinge where it pivots. The top roller doesn't pivot, so you just oil the roller stem on both sides, oil the roller bearing, and put a little bit on top. You also want to squirt some oil on just one little stream of oil in the top of the horizontal track. You also have a bearing at the end, just beyond the cable drum. So to oil this, you put a couple drops on the outside of the bearing, and you squirt a couple drops on the inside of the bearing plate. So the oil works its way down. Then as you roll the door, the oil works its way into the bearing. It's always good to check the bearing too. Sometimes the bearings, notice as you're rolling the door that the bearing, inside of the bearing is turning. On the frozen bearing, the shaft turns inside of the race, and you really need to sometimes have to take it apart, lubricate it, or replace the bearing. Next, we move to the center of the door. On a one-spring system, you can get to the bushing. You want to squirt oil there. Common problem that you have with these nylon bushings, often it gets real dry up there. A lot of times it'll be a two-spring system. We'll get the call, the customer says the door's real noisy, By the time we get there, the customer's dumped a bucket of grease all over the tracks, all over the shaft, all over all the hinges. They haven't found the squeak. It's a real high-pitched sound. Just a constant, steady, high-pitched sound as the door travels all the way down or all the way up. So you oil that bushing, and that gets rid of that problem. Also oil the washer up here, the bushing where the sprocket is. There's a pin here at the top of the open arm that you oil. You oil this pin down here. And then you come down the door and oil the hinge on both sides. So pour drop, drop here, drop here, drop here, drop here. Raise the door, drop on the right, so it works into the pivot point, drop on the left side of that, drop on the right, drop on the left. The door opens and closes, it works its way into the hinge, gets rid of a lot of the squeaks. Then we move to the right side, just as we did on the other side. Squirt a little oil on the outside of the bearing, a little oil on the inside. Raise the door a little bit, work the oil into the bearing. And then I come down the door, oil the roller pin, stem, turn it, oil the bearing and also the wheel. Come down to the hinge, oil the roller on the left, on the right, stem, the bearing and the wheel. Oil the hinge, all four sides, same here. Get the roller stem, bearing, a little bit on the wheel. Right side, left side, right side, left side. Same thing, oil the stem, the bearing, the wheel, right side, left side, right side, left side. Come to the bottom roller, notice that this roller slides back and forth like it should, so you don't have to free it with the vice grip. Oil it so that you get the stem free, oil the bearing, oil the wheel. Just check the cable's fine. Work my oil in here and oil the bottom of the cable. Here comes the dirty part. We're going to oil the spring and also the opener rail. Oil the spring. You never oil the last inch of the spring. If you oil the last inch of the spring could come loose from the cones. So we squirt the spring with oil across the top of the spring. This one's getting kind of rusty. And then I rub it down and work in the oil. Also, I take some of the oil that's on my hand, and then oil the trolley here. And then I oil the opener rail. You oil the bottom, and then you work a little bit up on the top of the bottom of the teeth, the top of the teeth. It's turned upside down. So this is oiled here. Now I'm going to open the door about 8 inches so I can get the oil under there and run the door.